Dr. Tom Haberman from Mayo Clinic Rochester, the Mayo Clinic College of Medicine and Sciences. I'm a professor of medicine. I've been a member of the Lymphoma Research Foundation Scientific Advisory Board since 2004. I was the chair of the Scientific Advisory Board from 2017 to 2019. I received the Minnesota Hope Award in 2008. It's important for the caregiver to understand the natural history of indolent lymphoma. We were part of a paper with the French group which reported that the overall survival at 10 years was 80% for patients with low-grade indolent lymphoma. It doesn't mean that you didn't get different treatments, but patients live a long time. Patients also get treated differently if they relapse. There are multiple different treatments and multiple steps. We just published a paper in this last year with other members participating on the Lymphoma Research Foundation Scientific Advisory Board, which reported that what the new treatments have been and their implications have been, and that the median time to relapse is about 26 months. And that continues over time, and that's new and different than what we used to say prior to the immunochemotherapy era. The paradox of non-Hodgkin lymphoma has been around for at least 4 decades. And the paradox is that if you have aggressive lymphoma, if you respond and go into complete remission, you can live a long period of time. If you don't, that is, if you have relapse and refractory disease, then the overall survival can be short. However, what's really changed, and the landscape is changing just over the last year, we first had autologous stem cell transplant, which about 40% of patients could be alive and disease-free long term. Then we moved now into the CAR T-cell era, where 40% of patients are in a complete remission. We don't understand how long those complete remissions are going to last. And lastly, we have new therapeutic interventions coming along, such as bispecific antibodies, which are actually drugs which may accomplish things that are very similar to CAR T-cell approaches. In the 2017 WHO classification, I thought I could count about 106 kinds of lymphoma. It turns out that a third are diffuse large B-cell lymphoma, 17% are follicular lymphoma, and mantle cell lymphoma represents about 4%. So you can cover pretty much half that way. The rest of them are very complicated and very involved. I recall one story back when, in the 80s, when I was called by an orthopedic surgeon, and he said, this was before the internet, and he said that his brother, who was an attorney, went to the Library of Congress and spent a week. He came up with 3 names of somebody to go see, and I was one of those. So he called and said, can you come see me? And it turned out we figured out what he had, and he's alive still today. And it's really important, I think, to also understand that neither the patient nor the caregiver is going to be able to get into literature and understand these diseases very well. So it's really important to see someone who is versed in the rare lymphomas and who can help guide sometimes multiple step approaches. It's also important to understand that these diseases are different than breast cancer, different than colon cancer, that stage doesn't have the same implications. In some of these low-grade rare diseases, stage 4 is not a terrible thing. If you have stage 4 breast cancer, it's a terrible thing. And so it's really important to understand the disease and get the facts about the disease.